Most people know exactly what it feels like to get paid. You check your bank account, you feel excited, and for a few days it feels great. But that feeling never lasts. By the end of the month, somehow the money is gone. Obligations are still waiting, and you're left wondering where it all went. If money could talk, it would say the same thing every month. I came in, and I left too soon. But what most people never learn is that how you handle your money immediately after payday is the most important financial habit you can build. Today, we're going to break down a powerful payday routine, a set of steps you should take every time you get paid that will help you control your cash flow, eliminate wasteful spending, and finally build security and wealth over time. This isn't about earning more money. This is about making the money you already have actually work for you. The first thing you need to do is find your financial baseline. This is the bedrock of understanding your money. Not your hopes, not your dreams, not your plans, but the real numbers that make up your day-to-day life. To do this, list out every essential expense you have from your last pay period. These are the things you must pay to survive. Rent or mortgage, utilities like electricity and internet, groceries, insurance, and the basics that keep your life on track. Once you have this list, add up the total and compare it to your income. A common rule of thumb is to keep this baseline under about 50% of your monthly income. Yes, that means essentials should comfortably fit into half of what you earn. If they don't, you need to identify real possibilities for reducing costs or increasing income before anything else. Now comes the part that most people avoid: saving before spending. You've heard about paying yourself first, but many people still fall into the trap of spending first and saving what's left. The problem with that approach is simple: there's almost never anything left. So instead of that, the minute your paycheck hits your account, transfer a fixed percentage, ideally around 20%, into a high-interest savings account. This is your safety net, your emergency fund, your buffer against the unexpected. Studies show that a large percentage of people have no emergency fund at all, which leaves them vulnerable to even a small surprise expense. But when that 20% is put aside before anything else, your mindset shifts from spending to security. After that, take a hard look at any lingering debt you might have. High-interest debt, especially credit card balances with rates above 15 or 20%, is one of the biggest drains on your financial progress. Instead of thinking about debt like a punishment, think of it as a guaranteed negative return on your money. Every dollar you pay in interest is a dollar that could have been saved or invested. The most efficient way to reduce this burden is to follow what's called the avalanche method, where you pay off your highest interest debts first. By doing this, you're giving yourself the best possible return on your money, because unlike some investments, paying off high-interest debt gives you guaranteed savings on future costs. This is also where systems beat motivation. Motivation fades. Discipline slips. But systems, like automation, keep working without effort. So here's a payday habit you should never skip. Automate your transfers. Set up your bank so that as soon as your paycheck arrives, the money is distributed into separate buckets: a checking account for essentials, a savings account for emergency funds and goals, and a debt repayment account for high-interest obligations. When transfers happen automatically, you don't have to think about it. Your financial plan becomes consistent and predictable. Once debt and savings are addressed, it's time to think about your future. Retirement accounts like a 401k or an IRA are not luxuries. They are essential tools for long-term financial growth. If your employer offers a matching contribution, treat it like free money. Not putting in enough to get the full match is essentially turning down your employer's offer of a raise. That's one of the simplest, smartest moves you can make. If you don't have a match or you've maxed it out, consider low-cost, diversified investments, like index funds that track a broad segment of the market for long-term growth. Now, let's talk about wants. Because the biggest financial mistake people make isn't expensive spending, it's mindless spending. If you spend $5 on a coffee every morning, $15 on lunch most days, and let small subscriptions slip through unchecked, those tiny expenditures add up. At the end of the year, that can be the equivalent of thousands of dollars. So part of your payday routine should be reviewing recurring expenses and asking, does this still serve my goals? If not, cut it or downgrade it. Don't just spend money because it feels convenient or habitual. And because life will surprise you, it always does. Another critical part of this routine is building a buffer that goes beyond emergencies. A savings buffer of 3 to 6 months of your baseline expenses gives you flexibility. If income is irregular or something unexpected happens, you'll be able to handle it without derailing your entire plan. And once your buffer is established, you can start thinking of higher risk, higher reward investments, side hustles, or business opportunities. But those should only be funded after essentials. Savings, debt repayments, and long-term investing are already covered. At this point, you might ask, if all of this sounds complicated, how do I even begin? The answer is simple. Start small, but start. Break this routine into clear, automated steps and follow it every single time you get paid. Not just when you feel motivated. Not just when you promise yourself you'll do better, but every time. This approach turns financial management from something reactive, where you hope you have enough by the end of the month, into something proactive. It gives you control, consistency, and the psychological benefit of knowing exactly where your money is going and why. It creates a loop of financial discipline that builds stronger habits over time, reduces stress, and ultimately builds real stability and wealth. So let me ask you this. If you continued this payday routine consistently for the next year, how much would your life actually change? And more importantly, how much peace of mind would that give you?